The number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business.
I'ma do whatever it takes, getting it done, any means, get rid of these snakes. Now I'm up in my stakes, going all in like get rid of these breaks. Now I ain't never gonna break, double my pace till I go down one of the greats. One of the greats, whatever it takes, whatever it takes.
Can't believe I'm doing this.
Having fun, so that's all.
We like the life.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I always forget that the hamster part's in the intro. Oh, sorry. Take it away, sir.
Watching you off screen and myself, I can see both of us as you can too. We're both smile at the same time at the intro.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome back in. Happy Monday. Happy December 1st. Final month of 2025. It's been a fucking year.
It sure has.
Welcome back to another episode 181 of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. If you haven't heard, now you heard. We're in our final week of the A, E, and the P. And I'm Christian Brindle. I'm joined with Glenn Shelton, as always. How was your weekend, sir? We got snow here.
Whoa, snow. How much snow? I didn't realize you got snow.
Thankfully, very little. I did not have to clean up any snow, but it still snowed a little bit.
Did Violet get to go sledding? Not
enough snow for that.
Okay. So it was a dusting.
Yeah, you could say so.
Is it gone already? Is it that type of snow?
There's still some in certain patches. Yeah. It's very cold out. Like when I went to the gym this morning, it's 20 degrees outside, something like that.
Are you nervous about the snow coming?
I hate it when the snow comes because
I
have a massive driveway. I invested in a snowblower last year.
We need video of you snow blowing this year, bro. I need video of you snow blowing your driveway. Oh my god.
I blow it all onto my neighbor's house.
I'm sure they love you for that. I'm sure they That's the asshole who doesn't stop at the stop sign. Blowing all the snow into my yard.
Fucking white BMW.
oh man. I'd say potentially the highlight of my week. Obviously, Thanksgiving was great. It was great to kind of take a break for a second. Obviously, with 2025 AEP, all of this, all the chaos going on. I did get to take my kiddos to see Zootopia 2. Thought it was a great movie. If you get a chance to take Violet sometime in the next week or two, highly recommend. Hilarious. My kids loved it.
I enjoyed the first one. You know, when you have little kids, you've seen like all these movies like a billion times, as you know.
Yes.
And so, like the movie that Violet's really into right now is Ugly Dolls. I don't know if you've seen that movie. I could tell you everything about that movie. I could tell you anything about that movie.
I don't know this one.
Starring Kelly Clarkson, the one and only Kelly Clarkson.
Ugly Dolls. What is this? What platform is this on? I've never even heard of this.
Bro, it's everywhere. It's a thing.
It's everywhere. Is this the next K-pop Demon Hunters? Is that what I'm hearing?
It came out a few years ago. I think it's a little late in the game for that. But
okay.
Yeah, no, Ugly Dolls, right? It's a thing. So that's what Violet's really into right now. She wants to watch that like every day. And so like I know all the songs, you know. I get the songs stuck in my head when I'm working.
Do you want to give us a little sneak peek? A little preview? I'm game.
Hang on. Let me find the trailer for said Ugly Dolls for us.
He needs
so we can get demonetized.
Music. Yeah. He needs his background music. He can't just karaoke a cappella, okay? He needs
Well,
needs
no one wants to hear me sing. Okay, let's just call it what it is. Actually, no. This video's 4 years old. So the movie's older than I thought it
I was
was.
gonna say, I was like, I'm usually pretty up to date on the latest kids movies. So when you said that, I'm like, I've never heard. Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on. Okay, here we go.
There's a child for every dog. Dog for
The
every child.
audience is like, what's going on?
Destiny has smiled.
Thumbnail. Jake, thumbnail.
So that's Kelly Clarkson.
Okay.
You couldn't figure that out, okay?
Yeah, it looks just like her. So
In case you couldn't tell.
Yo, wake up, Moxie.
Good morning, Peggy.
what is
Today could be your head and whoa.
Anyway,
So
we could get
that's just in your head all day though.
all day. You know, I'm just sitting there working. I'm just sitting there. It's like,
oh my God. That's
we did a show earlier in the year about gimmicks or real life hack.
Yeah.
And one of the things we both agreed on was people saying having no TVs in your house was a gimmick, which I totally believe, by the way. Like, you know, both of us have done better than 99.9999999% of people in this industry.
For sure.
I just purchased my 7th TV that's in my house.
Your 7
I
TV.
have 7 TVs in my house.
Oh my God.
Like, you know, and so, but we have this monster 90-inch screen in our living room, and that picture that playing on the 90-inch screen.
Just 24/7.
I could be a mile away and still see it.
You're snow blowing. You're outside snow blowing. You're still
Looking through the window. There it is. So I wanted to quickly talk about an interesting topic, because I could get way off track with conversations of ugly dolls.
Bring us back. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so final week of AEP, one thing we have been doing a really good job of bringing you guys up to date on is this kind of evolving situation regarding the State Department of Insurances. There's quite a few now. I think there's like 10 to 13 or something like that.
I saw someone say 13, which I was surprised to see the number was that high now.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that many either. It's kind of hard to keep track when there's so many coming out on a consistent basis.
Washington State did just drop their own bulletin, which when I saw that, I'm like, that's probably the most notable state, if I had to guess, as far as like population goes. You know, again, I'm not aware of any of the really, really big states yet that have come forward. Florida, Texas, California, New York, haven't seen anything. You know, New Jersey would be another really big state, in my opinion. So that would, again, it kind of adds, but at 10 to 13, I mean, there's power in numbers. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Mississippi, right? So, but the state that has been the most aggressive going after these carriers has no doubt been Idaho, from what I've seen. They've put out an actual cease and desist letter, and some news broke about a carrier essentially filing a lawsuit, I think is the way I understood it, against Idaho Department of Insurance. Let me see if I can find the article.
Yeah, which again, this is standard operating procedure. Anytime you get to this point in the game where, you know, if there is like a cease and desist, essentially a lawsuit has to happen to settle it, right? Unless the other party agrees, hey, you're right, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. The only other option would be if the insurance carrier completely pulled out of the state and said, hey, we agree to your cease and desist. For the insurance carrier to keep practicing business in that state, they're going to have to file a lawsuit. It's going to have to go through the court system. There is no other option.
Which we predicted way in advance that this would 100% happen.
Yes.
Like, this is not going to just snap your fingers and all of a sudden everything that carriers are doing that agents might not like is going to vanish. No, quite the contrary. The carriers will fight it with legal force into the next calendar year, and then they'll just either pull those plans or terminate them or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the case might be, they're just going to kick the can down the road until they can file for a new plan year. We said that verbatim, and looks like that's exactly where we are, playing out exactly as we wrote it.
We are the script writers in the industry.
But by the way, shout out Ron Ray, one of the funniest beefs that I've ever been a part of regarding my television. Earlier this year. It was this year or last year. I don't remember.
I almost brought it up. Because the room is so big, you guys. When Christian tries to take a picture, the TV looks like a 32-inch on the wall. Yeah,
it looks like
everyone's like, bro,
get a bigger TV.
And you're like, it's 90 inches. Like,
so I like take a picture of myself next to it, and like in the picture, if it falls on me, it will crush me. It'll be the end of me, like. Anyway, hilarious.
So funny. I almost brought that up. That's so funny.
Let's jump into the actual article to kind of start off today's show. Okay, so article headline states, United Healthcare sues Idaho insurance director over Medicare Advantage Commission crackdown. Okay, United Healthcare has filed a lawsuit against the director of the Idaho Department of Insurance, arguing that the state's recent efforts to regulate Medicare Advantage plan marketing and broker commissions are in violation of U.S. Constitution. The lawsuit, filed November 21st in a federal Idaho court, comes after the state's insurance department joined others in issuing warnings, which I don't think that's accurate. I think they were the first one. So I think other states joined them, article. But issued warnings or emergency orders aimed at preventing insurers from limiting access to MA plans and restricting broker commissions during the ongoing open enrollment period, annual election period. I'm just going to fact check this article as we go. Open enrollment periods in January for your information.
Unhinged.
Over the last year, many insurers have cut commissions for some of their MA or Part D plans. As the sector faces rising cost pressures, United Healthcare previously said it stopped paying broker commissions for new enrollments for a small percentage of its MA plans beginning in July. Which, by the way, that is, in my opinion, accurate for the vast majority of carriers. It is a small percentage of their total overall plans. Now, some areas, it might be a higher percentage than others. Like Idaho in particular, it's a huge percentage, if not all their MA plans. But nationally, that's probably an accurate statement. Okay, according to the complaint, Idaho issued a bulletin in October announcing its position that state consumer protection laws permit the agency to regulate the marketing activities and commissions offered by MA plans. The bulletin stated that carriers must make enrollment applications available in all forms, must not engage in activity discouraging enrollment, must not change compensation or commissions mid-year, and must provide commissions if built into rate development. 2 weeks later, the department issued a cease and desist order to multiple carriers that alleged the insurers were intentionally limiting access to MA plans by curtailing online access to applications, rescinding and agent commissions, discontinuing commissions to discourage enrollment, and removing online applications while making paper applications difficult to obtain. So the article continues, right? United Healthcare is seeking a declaration that the state's regulatory efforts are unlawful and violate the supremacy clause of the Constitution, as well as an order to vacate the department's bulletin and cease and desist order. The company is also seeking to prevent the department from imposing civil penalties. So, interesting.
I gotta know what the supremacy clause is. I'm not aware. Are you aware of what the supremacy clause is in the Constitution?
I am not. I am not, and I wish that I was. I wish that I was.
The supremacy clause found in Article 6 of the Constitution establishes the U.S. Constitution, federal laws, and treaties as the supreme law of the land, taking precedence over conflicting state laws and constitutions. So they're saying they're following federal laws. We don't care what your laws here in your state are, because we're following the federal laws, and these are the rules that apply. You know, it reminds me of when states started legalizing cannabis, and at the federal level, it was still a scheduled drug. It was still illegal. And so there was this big question of, are the feds going to continue to enforce federal law in these states where they've technically legalized cannabis? And you kind of saw this back and forth where it was like, sometimes this became an issue, other times the feds would step back. So it seems like they're saying, hey, this is federal law, like we're allowed to do this based on the US Constitution, which is a pretty strong argument to be making. Like, I don't know from the state level what Idaho DOI's legal response would be to this. Like, where do they have ground against the US Constitution?
Yeah. I've said all along that I was a skeptic that these state DOIs trying to do this would really carry any weight.
Right.
Or even if it did, it would end up being a negative repercussion. And so, you know, like every time a new state comes out, you know, the masses, they're like, here we go. Time for justice.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Call me a skeptical individual. But yeah, I guess we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, what do you think about this? Because I've seen this kind of happen before. I don't have any analogies off the top of my head, but I wonder if this is a situation where it gets escalated in Idaho. This continues to play out in the legal system, but the other states just kind of sit back and watch and see what happens in Idaho. And then basically this could be the domino that sends it one direction or another. Do you think that's kind of what we'll see happen going into 2026?
So you're saying Idaho is the sacrificial lamb?
Yeah, basically. I mean, we're looking at ground zero, I guess.
Ground zero.
Maybe you should get in the car and drive and get boot. We need boots on the ground, dude. We might need some boots on the ground up there. Idaho agents, unite.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. And I think that the carriers involved are so big that even if multiple states came out and did this, like right now, let's say there's 11 states that have put out bulletins, there might be, you know, a fraction of those that actually would come out with a cease and desist, right? So let's say you're talking 3 or 4 carriers. If there were any additional states, if there were any additional cease and desist that were put out,
yeah,
these carriers are so big they can fight this legally until the next plan year, right? For them,
for the next millennia, they can fight this.
But I've said from the beginning, all of this is to get through the correction phase. That's what the game is for these carriers. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get through the correction phase, which takes place over a multitude of years, where they can phase plans out in certain areas that are not profitable for them anymore. So, but it can't all happen at once. So they're just trying to not win this battle permanently,
Win the
but
war.
win it long enough to where they can correct and be allowed to correct.
It could be a year or two from now where there's almost no non-commissionable plans anymore. And then it's like, what are we arguing about? If 99% of the plans are commissionable again, so maybe that's their end goal here too. Maybe they're just trying to buy time with this whole thing.
There will always be non-commissionable plans.
Right.
I don't see PDP commissions ever coming back, and it's kind of interesting that
Sure.
that is kind of wound into a lot of this. But I do believe long term, there's a lot of agents, and we've talked about this into the ground on the show, but there's a lot of agents that feel like there is a big conspiracy going on where the carriers in reality want to push these plans that they're making non-commissionable, and the carriers are behind the scene twirling their mustache. Watch us sell all these plans and not pay the agents $25 a month. That is so crazy and asinine to think that's what's going on, in my opinion. When you actually understand how much funding the carriers get per member, the scheme of things, how much an agent and broker actually assists with the long-term retention of a member, the additional customer service burden that an agent takes off of a carrier, right? Like, a carrier looks at an agent that does a good job as a bargain.
Yeah.
Really.
And it is. It totally is. It's 70 million beneficiaries, the size of some of these carriers, their ability to try to service the clients themselves is essentially impossible, in my opinion. And I know some people think that's not true, but I've never seen anything to make me think otherwise on that. So, and I don't think we need to necessarily go down that road again, because we've already smashed that thing over and over and over. So if you want more on that, look back at the last 60 days of the pod. You can find some episodes talking about that. But I think one thing to if you're really new to this lawsuit situation, I think one thing to make super clear is Idaho is the only state. Christian just said this a second ago, but Idaho is the only state to technically file a cease and desist. I have not heard or seen any other state do that. So, I think there's been maybe some misconceptions as well among the agents that I'm seeing, where a state puts out a bulletin, and Washington seemed really soft. I don't even think they called it a bulletin. I don't even think it was a bulletin. I think it was like a letter from this is a letter. And it's like, I don't know.
Suggestion letter.
Yeah. It's like, this is a grumpy letter from our Department of Insurance Commissioner. And so I'm like, wow, we're not even putting bulletin behind this anymore. I'm like, okay. So
yeah, it's almost like
it doesn't really hold any weight. These bulletins really don't mean anything.
If any of you have ever written an article on LinkedIn or something, that's kind of what these carriers are doing with the bulletins.
The state DOIs. Yeah.
I totally agree. I think a statement is only as good as the willingness and ability to enforce it.
Yes.
And the only DOI that's really trying to put their money where their mouth is to enforce it right now is Idaho. And it wouldn't surprise me if what Glenn said is actually true, that a lot of these states are sitting back and kind of watching, the state of Idaho be the sacrificial lamb, for lack of a better term, and, be like, let's see what happens to them. Will they win? Will they lose? Will they get slaughtered? Will they win? And then we'll kind of follow suit, because the article said that, Idaho joined many other states. No, wrong. Idaho was the first state. Yes. Idaho was the one that kind of caused, in my opinion, a lot of this domino effects to happen of these bulletins, because Idaho was the first one to stand up and be like, okay, this is what we're doing. Yeah. After that, you saw other states follow suit with essentially the same verbiage of the bulletin. So it's almost like they're kind of leading the charge of all states in the country to do it, by the way. The little tiny state of Idaho, the ugly cousin of Utah.
The ugly sister cousin up north. My final thoughts on this, I'll say too, is we talked about this at the time when this Idaho situation started. It was very clear that even though we're upset by what the carriers are doing, the carriers are not doing anything illegal. There is nothing outside of the agreements that we sign with the carriers. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Christian, but we're 100% agreeing to these terms when they say, hey, we're not paying you for these plans anymore. So if you keep writing these, we agreed to all of this. True or false?
True.
And it's all legal. True or false? Everything they're doing. Yeah.
True.
So that was a, if you go through this complaint and this whole legal battle that's about to potentially take place here in Idaho, I don't know how what do you do if you go to a business and say you can't do that, and the business says, hey, we're literally doing everything to the letter of the law. It's like, okay, I guess we're done here. It's like, what else is there to say? Like, I don't know. As much as I want to get paid for every single plan, and I would love for PDP commissions to come back, and I'd love for commissions to get increased by 50%, and we're all driving Lambos, and Christian and I are racing across the U.S. in our matching Lambos together. This is business, right? Like, this is business at the end of the day, guys. Like, it's got to make sense for us and for them.
The last thing I'll say about it, because I want to spend as much time as possible on our main topic as well, because I'm excited to talk about it. And that's events, for those of you that didn't know. I am extremely bullish on the future of our industry. And I think the CMS proposal that came out last week further strengthened my belief in that, and poured more, gas on the fire of my bullish feelings. Oh
yeah.
And so, I'm super bullish, and I believe that the smartest people I know in our industry from the very beginning of all this, in conversations that I would have, were under the belief, and this is on the carrier side, the FMO side, the private equity side, everyone is has kind of been on the same page that, like, this is a market correction that needs to happen, but it's going to take a couple years to correct. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to believe it. And I think it's I think it's much more, sexy, interesting to talk about, to think there's this, insurance industry, insurance carrier deep state going on, where they're like we've moved our rook up a spot in the chess game of pushing the agents out. We're almost to checkmate. That's much more of an interesting conversation to have from the agents. It's like much less glamorous and interesting and sexy and, controversial to say, oh, it's a market correction and things will, correct.
It honestly, guys, I'm going to be really honest with all of you right now. It almost feels like COVID all over again this year. This COVID happens in 2020, and you hear every conspiracy theory in the world on what's actually happening, right? I mean, there was like dozens, right? And it feels like with this, the second we heard about non-commissionable plans, it's just been like this endless string of conspiracy theories from all of you on this. Like, literally, it's like, oh yeah, I heard all the major carriers are terming MedSup starting January 1, 2026. I literally like I heard all sorts. Literally, that's one of the conspiracies I've heard. I heard
anonymous post goes up. Just left a roundtable meeting with all the carriers. They will pull all plans next week. It's like, really?
Medicare's going into ACA. Medicare's going away. Like, it's crazy.
I want to turn anonymous posts on in the group just so I can throw some wild shit at you guys and watch you all scurry. I turned them off in the group for that very reason, so that stuff wouldn't happen.
It was getting abused. It was getting abused.
All right, let's pivot. I don't know if you're on board with this, but I'm almost kind of in favor of skipping the sponsor on this episode today, so we can have as much time as possible to discuss the main subject. I mean,
yes,
obviously we're talking about events. A big part of that I want to discuss as well is the summit, right? Because obviously at the forefront of this, we believe that the summit is going to be the best event you can attend. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we're doing a Black Friday sale on tickets that ends the end of the day today. So we're going to talk about events. We're going to go in all things events, and we're going to talk about the summit more, but understand that we have a Black Friday sale going on. Normal ticket price is $400. The Black Friday sale price is $295, and you can get that pricing on a ticket until the end of the day today, December 1st. So make sure to pick up your summit tickets while you can. That's as much as I want to say about that. And we'll talk about that more, but anything you want to add before we jump into events? Because man, this is a spicy meatball. I know.
Sponsorships are still available. If you guys are looking at trying to get in front of more agents, we're anticipating somewhere in the ballpark of 400 to 500 agents this year. This is going to be our 5th annual 7-figure Medicare Agent Summit. So if you're trying to get in front of more agents with your business, whether you're providing a service or software, or you're an IMO, insurance carriers, you name it. We've had dozens of sponsors in the past. So you can check out, you get on t-shirts, you'll be mentioned on stage. There's all sorts of options. So check that out, 7figure.com/summit. Let's jump into it though. And I actually asked ChatGPT for I said, hey, and of course, Chatty G knew we were there. So we got mentioned. There's like 7 here. A couple of them I knew, a couple of them I was like, what? I'm like, what is this? And maybe you've heard. So I do have a little, let's see how many. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, before we get into this list, I want to set some ground rules. I want to set some ground rules, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with us, if we're familiar with an event, saying I would or would not go to that one, and why?
Yeah. I think it holds more weight if one of us has been to the event. I feel like if you've attended, my personal opinion is like, if you've attended an event, you have every right to really provide your opinion. I think when you haven't actually gotten to attend the event, I think you're relying on outside opinions on what that event. So I think that's the one thing I will say about it. And what I'm looking at this list now, because it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. So there's 8 Medicare events, but then they provided a bunch of non-industry specific events.
Ooh.
So there's like a list of like 20 here if you want to go to talk about like the non-industry specific events as well. But I think the first 8 for sure, we've got to tell you, there's some good ones on here. So you want me to just start at the top?
Let's jump in.
All right. Chatty G. Okay. Number 1. Medicare. Oh, sorry. I was reading the wrong spot there. Medicarians in Vegas. Agent Symposium 2026. Says the niche, Medicare, senior market, distribution, agents and FMOs. And the dates for this one, it's April 20th to the 22nd in Las Vegas at the Fontainebleau.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, Viva Las Vegas.
So I admittedly have never been to Medicarians.
Nor have I.
I've had the opportunity to go several times. Because of the relationships that we have, right, in the space. I've always had people that have tickets or VIP passes that have invited me to go as a part of their group, or invited us, to go as a part of their group. I've never taken up the chance to go. And the reason was because I have never been invited to speak there. It's the only Medicare event for the industry that I have neither not spoken at or been invited to speak at. I feel pretty comfortable in saying that. Well,
Isn't
I
it?
guess there's
Can we just be honest here? Isn't it mostly pay to play at Medicarians?
yes, but let me give some additional thoughts to this. Okay,
Okay.
so my beef with Medicarians over the years. Now, granted,
we need a secondary podcast. This is like Christian's beefs, which is every week is a new beef that we're covering. My beef.
Okay, so admittedly, I believe we're planning on being there next year.
Yeah, I think so, in somewhat shape or form, for sure.
We don't know exactly what that will look like yet, but we're planning on attending. It's a very big event. There's a lot of very important people there, people on the carrier side, FMO side, private equity side, and all the above. My beef with it over the years, and it is the biggest Medicare event in terms of volume of people that are there. There's going to be thousands of agents that are there. My beef with it has been that, like Glenn said, it is very much pay to play. So if you go with the understanding that you are going to be pitched to for 2 days. And if you're not being pitched to, you'll have the compliance Nazis, shaming you from stage for 2 days.
So to run this back a little bit, because Medicarians is probably one of the few conferences that I think are really worth talking about for a few different. One is this used to be the Med Sub conference. It got bought by another entity that runs events. I believe it's the same owner that does LeadsCon. They bought the Med Sub conference, and they're like, hey, we're going to rebrand this. It's Medicarians now. I almost went to the Med Sub conference one year. I ended up not going. Then I was heavily invited to the first Medicarians, which I want to say it was like 2022, I think. And I got nothing but, again, third-party information. I didn't go, but I got nothing but really bad reviews from people that I know that went to the first one. And
as did I.
Specifically, what was mentioned is that it was basically like all again, pay to play. It was like all vendors, all like FMO heads, and there was like really no agents there. And so everyone who did go kind of came back and they were like, yeah, I just, there wasn't a lot of value there. They again, bad reviews. Now, the reviews I got on last year's Medicarians was very different. And I think the reason that is it was so big. There was a lot of agents and FMOs and again, industry leaders there, whether they paid or not, right? You're still getting all these people in the room. So I think there's value from that standpoint, right? Is like, even if the event itself isn't incredible, which again, I haven't been, so I can't necessarily say either way. If you have been, feel free to drop your review in the comments. But if you're just wanting to rub shoulders with more people in the industry, Medicarians is definitely a spot to do it. And that's why Christian and I are looking at going ourselves.
To elaborate just a tiny bit on other reasons why I haven't gone previous to next year, is because I made the commitment a couple of years ago that I was not going to attend any events that I wasn't speaking at. That was kind of, because why? One thing I learned anytime I would go to an event that I wasn't speaking at is that I would get more attention from attendees than the speakers would. Like there'd be people speaking that no one knows who they are. People see me there. They're like, you're speaking, aren't you? What are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I'm here. And there's people taking pictures with me, posting them online. And I noticed very quickly, I'm like, oh, I am providing amazing publicity for this person's event, but they wouldn't put me on their stage.
Yeah.
So I made that kind of hard line in the sand where I'm like, if you want me to bring credibility to your event. And just by me being there, just by me sitting in the room, I'm doing that. I don't mean to have a big head, but that's the truth. I mean, I won't do it unless I'm going to be on stage. Now, granted, Medicarians is a pay-to-play thing, right? And pay-to-play has been extremely demonized by our industry, right? People hate events that pay to put people on the stage, except for Medicarians. People don't seem to care as much. I don't understand why. But the person that writes the biggest check is the person that gets on the stage. So that's why I wasn't going. That being said, I do feel like it is such a big industry event that we're warranted in being there. And maybe we pay to speak. I don't know. I mean, I've kind of been against that because I feel like I bring a lot of value, but if integrity has to pay to speak, I'm sure I do too.
Right. Right. Everyone's being held to the same standard. The problem though is from a value standpoint, and this was something I was going to mention about the summit too, you guys, is like, we could run an event if we wanted to, and it could be our entire downline that speaks. It could be a nonstop pitch fest from stage. It could be only people who pay to speak. And it could be something that tries to just monetize the entire experience where Christian and I are actually making money. But we don't do that. And we don't do that because we want to bring value. And we want something that people have a good experience. They're not just getting pitched 24/7. So, that again, that's where it gets a little gray for me too, is like, if everyone's there and they paid, now they're looking at trying to get an ROI. And a lot of times they're not just up there to bring value. It's, hey, pull out your phone and you're signing up right now, right? Like, again, we've both seen it. We've both been at events where that's happened, right? Where it's like, they're trying to get an ROI on what they spend getting up on that stage, right?
8% got a horrible reputation for a couple of years for that. There was a lot of agents that looked at that event as exactly that, and people didn't like that vibe of it, right? And so, but people don't have the same perception of Medicarians. But how is it different? I don't understand. But I think the reason that we'll be there is because it's so big. That is probably the only reason. It's the only event that's going to be that big. And that's in terms of industry specific. There is no other. The company that's running it is a professional event hosting company. Like Glenn said, they host LeadsCon, so that's all they do. They're really good at it in terms of getting butts and seats and monetizing it and everything like that. Right. So, by going, you're part of the cog. But I think because of just the sheer volume of people that go, it's probably beneficial for us to be there.
Yeah, I think there's value, right? Like I said, I mean, I've always said that some of the most value of any event is what's happening after the event's over, or, what the conversation that's happening in the hallway is, right? Like, so when you have that type of volume of people there, your chance of getting an ROI as an attendee is pretty high. Like, if you're a halfway decent networker, like, as long as you're not just a fly on the wall and you're like scared to talk to people, which I know some of you are, don't do that. Like, talk to people, shake hands, introduce yourself. Like, that's where, in my mind, most of the value of these events are. I just talked to somebody last week about Medicarians, and they had a really great business connection that happened sitting at the bar with somebody. They went into business with them within like 24 hours, right? So, but again, that can happen at any event, right? As long as you're doing that networking and you're meeting the right people. So let's keep going though. I feel like we talked a lot about that one. Let's keep rolling here. So here's one I'm not familiar with. I'm curious if you are. RISE, RISE, RISE National 2026.
Never heard of it.
Here's kind of the Chatty G highlight of it. Medicare Advantage operations, risk, quality, compliance, analytics, member experience. This is taking place end of March in Orlando, Florida. This is more on the plan/operations side than pure sales, but it is gold if you want to understand Medicare Advantage trends.
This episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by my mini course, How to Find and Buy Books of Businesses. Guys, in 2024, Glenn and I, in our combined company, purchased and acquired through acquisition 900 clients. And over the years, we've purchased thousands of clients to grow our agency internally. And we've learned a thing or two over the years, right? There's certain things you need to look out for. You need to know how to value a book of business. You need to know how to transfer everything, what the expectations are in terms of the timeline. And you need to know how to put a deal together and structure it to protect yourself while still at the same time doing good business with people. Guys, this mini course is around 10 videos long. It's a quick and easy thing to get through. And it's a great way for you to grow your book of business in 2025. Whether you're finding an agent that is maybe been in the business for decades and they want to retire, and then maybe they don't have any kids to take over their business. Maybe you're looking at a situation with an agent that just hasn't been able to make it in the business and they're just looking to go off and try other things. Buying books of businesses can be a great way to quickly and rapidly grow your business fast. And we've unveiled all of the little tools and tricks that you need to know in this training. It's a one-time purchase for only $197. For that price, we're practically giving it away. Make sure to check it out now. Now back to the show.
So yeah, I don't know. This kind of sounds almost more like it's geared towards like carrier operations. I don't really know though. That one I was not aware of.
So I'm looking at their website right now, looking at the speakers, and I don't recognize a single one so far. For what that's worth. Like I've never heard these names ever in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sales focused event at all. I think that's more of an operations back end, third party administrator type event. I'm assuming based on that quick breakdown. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say because I've literally never heard of that event, and I've never heard of any. So yeah, I don't really have a comment on that one, but I thought that was interesting. Here's one that
wait,
go ahead.
I want to say one more thing before we move on from that one. I would say that if I've never heard of a single speaker, there's probably not a lot of credibility there. Sorry to anybody that's speaking at that event if I hurt your feelings. I wouldn't go to that one. No.
I want to invite everyone. If you've been to one of these events, part of the problem is Christian and I run our own events, and so there's only so much time in the day. Like Christian said, like part of the reason why he has this boundary, and again, last year I really only did events that we were a part of. Same reasoning really. Is like we just don't have enough time in the day to go to a dozen industry events plus try to run all of our own events. So, but the reason I'm saying this is if you've been to one of these events and you have your own comments or your own reviews that you'd like to share, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to hear. I do feel like if you're a sales agent or you're an agency owner, I don't think that's the event for you. So I'll kind of mirror Christian's thoughts in a little bit less abrasive way.
All right, let's keep...
No, you're not going.
It might warrant going a little bit over top of time today because I'd love to. Okay, good. I'd love to kind of go through this list because I love this. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, So the next one I'm familiar with. So AHIP has their own conference, it looks like. So
yes.
AHIP 2026, Medicare, Medicaid, Duals, and Commercial Markets Forum, shortened to MMDC 226. The niche is health plans, government programs, policy, and markets. This is happening the same weekend as Rise. Sorry, Rise. You're probably going to lose some people to the AHIP conference, and it is in Washington, D.C. Why go? High-level strategy around Medicare and Medicaid. Great if you're positioning yourself as a high-level distribution strategy partner. Thoughts on this?
I've always found it really funny to me that AHIP does they'll sponsor certain events, like they have their own event. And maybe that's why they've never sponsored the summit, because I talk like this.
Yeah,
But,
maybe. Maybe.
but I'm just like, you guys are a glorified course company that we're all forced to do. Like, okay, I'm looking like I could see it being nothing but
triggered.
I've never gone, admittedly, but I could see it being nothing but compliance talks. Like, a lot of NABIP events are like that. Sorry, NABIP. To where it's like, I've been to NABIP events where I'm about to take the stage and I see people asleep in the audience. Like it's happened.
Yeah,
like
you've sent me pictures.
I've routinely made people stand up when I get on the stage. I'm like, okay, let's get our blood going a little bit, because I don't want to talk to a bunch of zombies. Like, I'll never forget, I got on stage at a NIBIP event a few years ago, and there was a guy in the front row like this. He was like this. Like, out cold. That's how interesting the content usually is, because it's legislation content, compliance content. Not to say any of that's not valuable, but man, wouldn't it be nice to have some information in there about growing your business, or like how this stuff relates to you, or how you can grow your business with these new rules in play, or whatever that might be, in that context of growth. But a lot of it isn't.
And here's the scary part, and here's part of the reason why we're talking about this at the level that we are, you guys, is you're probably only able, I think the average age, there's freaks out there like Chris, who goes to every industry event that's ever been created. He's essentially the industry historian. But I think the average agent probably only has the ability to attend one or two events, right? So
yes,
if you pick the wrong event, if you go to something like Rise National 2026 thinking this is going to help you grow your business, and it is all just like behind the scenes MA level compliance and analytics, and it's not, you just wasted your weekend, your fun, and you might not be able to go to another event. So this is why this is important to talk about, because we want you to pick the right event for your business, right?
Okay, so real quickly on the AHIP one before we move on from it.
Yeah.
So listen to the topics of the general sessions on their website. Medicare Advantage and Part D priorities and future directions. Yawn. Marketplace priorities for integrity and affordability. Yawn. The agency's vision for healthcare in 2026. Ooh. Employer health policy priorities. Innovation spotlight. From innovation to affordability, navigating the new era of drug pricing. Like, all of this stuff just screams to me the typical,
right.
Oh, here we go. CMS's vision for Medicare, Medicaid, and Marketplace.
There might be a couple of tidbits, right? And maybe also, here's another thing. Like I said, with the Medicarian situation, maybe there's some decent networking happening after that AHIP event. But I would agree with you that most likely the content that's coming at you from stage is probably going to be like eating styrofoam. Like, let's just be honest, right? Like saltine crackers from World War II, and you're chugging water to get it down, right? I mean, that's most likely the type of content that's coming at you from stage.
Picture once every 30 minutes you have to take a big bite out of a pine cone. Kind of what I would imagine.
You got smelling salts in your suit coat pocket. You're just like ripping smelling salts every like 90 minutes to stay awake. Like, I'm here. Okay, let's keep rolling. Yeah. 17th annual Medicare Market Innovations Forum. Looks like the website is medicaremarketinnovations.com. Medicare marketing, engagement experience, product design, and final rule impacts. 17th annual, but yeah, I've never heard of this one.
Neither have I.
This is happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, May 5th and 6th, 2026. Why go? Specifically about Medicare marketing plus member engagement and how to navigate final rule in 2026 AEP chaos. So I will say from what Chatty G has given me, it sounds like this is more of a sales focused event that's more geared towards the agent compared to, the last couple of events we've talked about. But that being said, I'm not familiar with it off the top of my head. Maybe there's so many people who use the term innovation or innovator in their name that it's kind of become this meaningless term because everybody wants to be the innovator. And so I don't know. I don't know if I've ever came across them or not, to be honest.
So looking at their website, I'll tell you how exciting this is.
Hang on. For the audio only audience, I just want you to know what Christian just pulled out everything out of the holster on it. I could tell he just resituated in his seat. There's a potential massacre coming. So just prepping the audio only audience for what I believe is about to go here. Okay, continue.
I want to say one more thing before I go into this. If it's sounding like I'm just butchering all these events and I'm not positive towards any, that's not the case. It's just I'm trying to be honest. Like if I was looking at it as an attendee. Okay, so I'm on their website. This is their speaker list. Every single speaker that I can tell is from a carrier. So they're carrier reps. So how exciting is that?
Oh boy.
Okay, so
yikes.
Geisinger Health Plans speaker, Blue Cross of Idaho speaker, Metro Plus Health speaker, Devoted Health has a speaker, Banner Health has a speaker, 2 speakers, Banner Health, Moda Health, Elevance Health, so Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona has a speaker. So half the speakers are Blue Cross people that work for Blue Cross companies.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
How exciting could that possibly be?
Yeah, it again, what Chatty G gave me sounded a lot more exciting than what you dug up pretty quickly there on on the website. So yeah, I don't know. Probably not a top contender by any means based on the speaking lineup that you just shared there.
You can tell a lot about an event by who's speaking at it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Man, and our lineup at the summit last year was fire too.
Yeah. Like it kind of embarrasses all these other events. They can't get anybody there
Really
that will actually sell tickets or like people want to pay to see.
Let's keep rolling.
Cost. That's probably a topic for another day. All right.
Yeah, let's keep rolling. We got several more here. I know we're going to go past the hour mark, but just for the sake of everyone's sanity, let's keep going. Next up, Medicare Expo 26 at the Biltmore.
What are these?
I know. The niche. This is the Medicare Producer Expo. AEP strategy, vendor village, and breakouts. This is happening in 2026 at the Biltmore venue, which the Biltmore, I believe, is in Scottsdale, Arizona. if somewhere in Arizona, I believe. Unless there's another Biltmore that I'm not aware of. It doesn't give me a specific date for this one. The website
4th of this year, actually. So I guess it already happened.
This one says there's a 26. Maybe they just haven't announced. Are you at MedicareExpo.net?
Yes.
Yeah, that says it's the website. So it says there's a 2026 event, unless Chatty G got this wrong.
The tickets are $5 per.
Listen to it's a carnival. Listen to this. You're gonna love this.
Carnival?
Why go? Agent-centric expo with carriers, vendors, AEP insights in quotations, and giveaways. Feels like a fun recruiting and training type event. Well, there you go. Recruiting. It's apparently right there in the for $5 a piece. It's one of those things. Again, you don't pay to get on Facebook because you are the monetization of Facebook, and Sounds like the Medicare Expo 26. If you're going, get ready to get recruited. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Does the butcher have any thoughts for this?
They're charging $5 per ticket. It's
Christian
probably
wants
worth
to
it. You get what you pay for. If my coffee in the morning costs more than the ticket, like
the butcher, another bloodied event, you guys, right here on the pod. All right,
I've never heard of these events ever.
I know. I was shocked when I saw how big the list was. Another event that I've never heard of. Okay.
Okay.
Another one.
Keep it coming.
And the name is something special here. Okay.
Okay.
G.A.M.E. So it is an acronym for game.
What?
Game.
Wait, G.A.M.E. Garrity
Medicare Advantage.
Garrity.
Medicare Expo. AEP 2026.
Okay.
Medicare Advantage sales and tools for AEP 2026. Date and place. It says 2026 Regional Medicare Expo. Date and locations are on the event page. Why go? Very practical. All about leveling up your AEP sales in 2026 with agent-focused training and Medicare connections. It kind of reads to me like this was a event that happened this year, maybe.
So, looking at the website, the vast majority of the speakers are
Dun-dun.
Carrier-
It's like
are
the Jaws.
carrier
You could play the Jaws music right now. Dun, 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 dun. He found the speaker list. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so the vast majority of the speakers either work for Garrity, which is an FMO, so it's a big recruiting event, I'm sure,
Yep.
or they work for a carrier. There's one or two other speakers that are not related, it looks like, to either one, so I guess I'll give them credit for that. But I mean, it's a Garrity event, so it's got to be just a big recruiting fest, I would imagine. I don't know, I haven't been, so can't say too much about it.
Again, no idea. The one thing that stood out to me with the synopsis Chatty G gave me was Regional Medicare Expo. So I don't know is it not a national focus? Are they just trying to focus on a region of the U.S.? I don't know. That could be meaningful, maybe not. The next, are you ready to move on?
Go.
You ready
Let's
for
roll.
this?
Let's roll.
Oh God.
So far, the only event that we've talked about that I would say, yeah, maybe you should go is Medicarians. For the record.
Yeah.
All these others are ridiculous to me.
Well, what's interesting is I think there's a trend. I think that you're seeing a trend, right? It's a recruiting event,
Yeah.
or it's a
big
compliance
fest.
event. Yeah, a compliance fest or a recruiting event. That's kind of been what you're seeing, from these. So the next one is, I believe you've heard of this conference. It is the Miss Medicare Conference. The niche is Women in Medicare, Networking, Skills, Leadership. The dates 2026 is posted on their site. It is an ongoing annual conference. Why go? If you are building female leaders or teams in Medicare, this is a niche, but it is a powerful networking and empowerment event. Thoughts on this conference option, Mr. Brindle? Brindle the Butcher. Brindle the Butcher.
This event I am familiar with. And for those of you that have been around a long time know that the host and I have history, colorful one at that. I've always found this event ridiculous. It is, it's a female only event, which I don't have a problem with at all. Like I sponsored Rebecca Davis's female only event years ago because I thought it was cool what she was doing. So shout out Rebecca Davis. So I don't have a problem.
That's women
Yeah,
in
yeah.
insurance.
Women in insurance. Shout out Rebecca
Yes.
Davis.
Yes. Great event. Great group.
And so like I don't have any problem at all with a female only event. The host has said things like I hate women and things like that. I don't. That's not what this is about. It's that I think the event is ridiculous. I think I have consistently heard from people that go that it's a big recruiting fest for the operator. And it's a time for the operator to yell at you and lecture you about compliance. And it's not put on by an organization that actually produces or has book business or clients or anything like that. So I've always found the event absolutely ridiculous. Half-baked value at best. And so, no, I would not go. I wouldn't go to that event whatsoever.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
And I want to tread lightly here, but if I were to roll out a conference in 2026 and it was called Men in Medicare, okay?
Sausage Fest.
MIM. Why does it feel like there would be blowback on that?
Because there's a double standard.
Okay.
In my opinion, right? There's a double standard. I think if you go back into the history of insurance, I think it has predominantly been, especially decades ago in the early years of the formation of what we have today, a male-dominated industry for the most part. That is not the case anymore.
No, it's much more diverse.
Some of the most successful agents I've ever known are women agents. I have said historically that if you could give me two people with equal skill sets as agents to come into my business, and I could have a man and I could have a woman, I'd probably pick the woman because I think women are more effective salespeople. I think they're better at building rapport. I feel like they're better at building connection. I think they're easier to trust. I think they're softer spoken in a way, so they're less intimidating than men. So I think some of the best salespeople in our industry are women, and there's so many amazing women agents that are in our space and that we work with at ESI.
I agree.
But I feel like the whole concept of this event is trying to paint the picture that women are not, empowered. They're not being recognized, this and that, which is bullshit. Like at the summit, for example, we have usually pretty close to 50-50 women versus men speakers. And that's not that we're trying to intentionally do that. We're trying to pick the people we want to put on the stage, and it just happens to work out that way. But like I've had people in the past that go to this event tell me that we're sexist because we don't have more women on the stage. Like there was one year I had 60% of the speakers were women. They're like, not enough women at the boys club.
Well, okay. So as a gender, like removing gender from all of this conversation, if I'm an agent and I'm looking for the best conference to go to in 2026, I'm not going to pick a conference that's highlighting a certain gender. Just period. I feel like I'm not going to get everything that I want out of that event if only one gender is allowed in the door. Whether it's men or women, doesn't matter to me. I want everybody to participate. I want men and women at the event that I'm choosing to go to.
Same.
So, again, I've never personally been to Miss Medicare, but I feel like we did a pretty good job covering that one. Any other thoughts you want to share?
One more thing I want to say, like this event is all about compliance Nazism.
Compliance.
I'm looking on their website and they have no, let me get this out. So they have the Medicare disclaimer at the bottom of the website. It's not a consumer facing fucking page. So it says on the website, We do not offer every Medicare plan in your area. Currently, we represent 88 organizations which offer 324 products in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov, 1-800-Medicare, or your local state SHIP department.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're putting that on your website for an agent-facing event site?
We should contact SHIP right now and ask them about Miss Med. Be like, I was on the Miss Medicare website and they told me to contact you.
Be like, well, what's that? Oh, it's an agent event. Like they wanted you to contact us about, like, so that's the type of advice you're going to get there. Make sure to put more disclaimers on your websites.
Yeah.
Make your disclaimers longer in your email signatures, and start your phone call off with 5 minutes of extra disclaimer to make sure you're safe.
It
Be
is
like, but excuse me, but when do we start making sales? That's secondary. Fuck you. Comply.
It's the Biden CMS administration all over again, right? I mean, we're looking at Shaquita Jones. Yeah, it's Shaquita part 2. I'm all for compliance. I'm all for following the rules, but over policing of ourselves, that's really become a trend, is disgusting. I'm not a fan of this.
Like, what type of advice are you going to get from an organization that overregulates themselves like that? Puts that disclaimer on an agent-facing website that's not a consumer website. Where's the rule that says you have to do that?
Yeah, doesn't exist. 100%. That's crazy. All right, well, let's keep rolling. Okay. Ironically enough, this was not by my own design, but the last one on the list, maybe Chatty G saved the best for last. I don't know, but it is the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Parentheses 2026. The niche for this one: high growth Medicare agents and agencies, sales and scaling strategies. The dates: June 15th through the 17th, 2026, per the event page, which it looks like the info is pulled from 7figure.com, according to Chatty G. Why go? Focus is specifically on scaling to 7 figures in production with top producers.
Yes!
With top producers and FMO leaders sharing tactical plays. Oof. I mean, I don't know if you could have written something more attractive up yourself based on just what Chatty G pulled there. Thoughts on what Chatty G said about the event?
Great representation, Chatty G. And, I think it's a very, truthful representation of what the event is all about. It's not about anything other than giving you the tools as an agent or an agency owner to level up your business and to do it in an effective way, certainly a compliant way, an ethical way, but to give you true and, scalable and actionable items to actually grow your business. There's no pitching. There's no fluff. I can tell you that we have never made significant profit on this event, ever.
Yes.
And we could, and we choose not to.
Right. We could, for sure.
We take it in the shorts to give you real value. That's why I'm such a snob about so many of these events, I feel like, because I know what they're trying to do, and there are things we could easily do as well, but we choose not to do it because we want to put on a great event and bring you value. From the get-go, we wanted to put on the event that we would want to pay to go to. So if I may, can I share my screen?
Please.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware about the summit, it's in 195 days from the time of this episode. 15 hours, 41 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Right around the corner.
It's not the biggest event of the year, admittedly, but it's big. We'll have, like Glenn said, probably between 400 to 500 agents there next year. We had about 400 agents there in 2025, our biggest year ever. It's routinely just gotten tons of praise for just real actionable information. We don't just throw a lineup up there of only our own organization, although there's plenty of people in our organization up there. We put up people that bring value from other organizations that we don't benefit from at all. We don't charge them to speak oftentimes. So it's going to be a good event. Right now, the only speakers that have been announced are you and me. And that's all you need. But there will be more speakers to come that we're announcing. It's in Salt Lake
Expect
City,
that-
June 15th through the 17th.
Expect that
2
list
days.
in January, you
Beautiful
guys. We
Hilton
are
Hotel that we had it at last year. And our sponsor options, I was looking at some of these others, like their top sponsor options on some of these other events are $20,000, and you get less than what we're giving you. Our top sponsorship option is $8,000. Super affordable. Our bottom tier one is $2,500. So if you want to get some exposure for your business, sponsorship is a great way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I love our event. I love everything that it stands for. Every year when it's happening and when it's finished up, I love the feedback that we get from the agents. It's always so positive, and the agents just come and they just love it. And that means a lot to me. And I mean, last year was very stressful, or I should say this year, 2025, because my wife was going to give birth. She ended up giving birth 4 days after the event finished to our son. And then at the same time, I got sick during it, and I was trying to keep it to myself, people on our
Christian.
People on our staff were like, "Are you losing your voice?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's what it is."
Well, admittedly, you do lose your voice. I feel like almost with the amount of talking and speaking, because Christian MCs the event and he's presenting. Again, I want to encourage all of you listening to this or watching this, whether you're watching it live or the replay, drop your comments below, whether this is about the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit, if you've gone, or if it's another event that we talked about that you've been to. I'd love for you to share your experience with any of these events here on this video, on this podcast episode. One thing I would love to do, maybe to kind of put an end cap on the summit, if you could find the video that kind of highlights the summit and kind of that montage that Jake put together for us of the individuals talking about. I don't know if it's on a YouTube channel. I know it's in probably one of our chats, but I think, again, the summit is a really unique experience. If you've been to some of these other events, like we highlight, a lot of them are either compliance related events, or it's potentially you're going to hear from a lot of carrier reps, which if you've listened to carrier reps talk, I think you understand the sort of value that you'll get from some of these carrier reps, which can a lot of times be hit or miss. Or it's a recruiting fest. You're just they're trying to recruit you. They're trying to put you in their downline. So being that Christian and I have been in the industry, we've been to a lot of these types of events over the years, we're trying to really set the standard of providing value and not fall into one of those categories. So yeah, I think this is a great clip that shout out to Jake that put this together for us, that you can hear firsthand from some of the attendees. Go ahead, roll it.
Yeah.
Great. It's something I recommend everybody take a chance, take the opportunity, buy out the time, plan it. And there's 500 agents here who are bringing practical new ideas back home to their home agency. And we're so excited to be here. Got to see a lot of old friends, met a lot of few people over here. Networking is great. Got to see a lot of wood technology, all the vendors, speakers of
The message that I got was essentially to rely simply on myself is going to be a self-limiting process.
I'll tell you, if you have not been to this conference, you need to be here.
great. It's something I recommend.
Boom. Love it.
Yeah.
Right from the mouths of the people.
Guys, like we said at the beginning of the episode, we have a Black Friday sale going on tickets. They're typically $400 ahead, which is a bargain, right? Steve Pomerantz pointed out very accurately, one more sale additionally a year from value you get from the event pays for the ticket. Like, that's ridiculous. And, but we understand it's extremely valuable information, so we don't charge $5.
Yeah, it's not a circus, unfortunately.
No, like it's not a carnival ride. We won't have a cotton candy machine.
$5. That's crazy.
It's also not free. Some of these events are free, which again, you get what you pay for. But it's extremely affordable, and you should definitely make sure that you get there. It's going to be such a great event, and I can't wait for it. We're about 6 months away, a little bit over. Can't believe we're already that close. So, yeah, guys, get your tickets. And that's my final thoughts on today's episode. Not to say that the summit's the only event you should go to, but it's certainly at the top of the list, I would say.
Absolutely. I just to kind of mirror those final thoughts, you guys. My final thoughts. Great episode today, episode 181 of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. I think this was a really great kind of if you're new to the industry, right? I think we kind of pulled back the curtain on what you're seeing at a lot of these other events. Like, I really do feel like we did a great job to give you guys an idea of most likely what you're going to see when you go to one of these industry events. The summit is definitely at the top of the list, if not the number one event that you should be considering going to. And with the discount on tickets right now, I think you'd be crazy not to pick one up. Again, it is in Salt Lake City, June 15th to the 17th in 2026. If you are looking for an opportunity to sponsor an event next year and to get in front of more agents, and I will say the level of engagement is very, very high at this event. You might not get this type of engagement with other sponsorship opportunities. So definitely check it out. Head over to sevenfigure.com. The link is below the comments here in the live stream in the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group. If you want to pick up that ticket, or if you want to look at some of these sponsorship opportunities, we are coming up on the end of the year. So, I'm not a certified accountant. Talk to your CPA, but could be a great tax write-off as well to drop some sponsorship, or again, pick up 10 tickets. That could be a great write-off too, potentially. Talk to your accountant. Head over to sevenfigure.com, sevenfigure.com.
Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. This was a longer episode than normal. Hope you enjoyed it. I always love talking about events, selfishly. So I enjoyed today's episode. Again, get your tickets to the summit while you can. Big discount for Black Friday, and we'll see you guys in Salt Lake City in June. We'll talk about the event more as we get closer. And appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end of the show. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give us a 5-star review, whatever the platform of your choice will allow you to do to support the show. It helps more agents find the show who desperately need to hear this information. And until next time, guys, happy final week of AEP. Here's to your massive success. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.